Come, sit. Let us have a conversation. A long time ago, and by a long time ago, I mean 20 something years ago, YouTube began its gorgeous little journey on our seriously fucked up and weird internet. Back then, you had a bunch of people, me included, that uploaded AMVs to YouTube because that's all YouTube was back in the day. And they were all Linkin Park AMVs about like Naruto or Bleach or some type of anime that we were all watching, like let's say Elfen Lied. But there were a few diamonds in the rough, a few individuals who saw YouTube as an opportunity to basically put themselves out there and become something big. Individuals like Mr. Beast, Casey Neistat, Markiplier. But with those people also came a bunch of other individuals. These individuals were the ones that quickly were able to realize that this fame thing and these view things leads to a whole lot of money. And they began to monetize themselves as kind of like online YouTube personalities. One of those individuals was Boogie2988. Now, if you don't know who Boogie2988 is, I played a lot of World of Warcraft. I played so much World of Warcraft that it tanked a semester of college for me. It was a problem. And being a part of that community, I was on everything. I was on YouTube, I was on MMO Champ, I was on Wowhead, I was in the forums, I was doing stuff with the guild, everywhere. And I followed all of the major content creators for WoW back in the day. Like you had like Preach was one of them. You had Donkey that was doing some WoW stuff, and you had Boogie who was doing WoW stuff. Now, unlike Preach or Donkey who were putting out things back then that was basically designed to help you, like, here, this new quest that's over there, or hey, that new thing is over there, and this is the best rotation if you want to play a frost mage in Lich King, or these are the best runes to take if you want your frost death knight to tank in ICC, things along those lines. Boogie was more the Joker character, where he would show up and he would play either Boogie, who was talking about things that were going on in WoW, or he would play Francis, which was a character that was larger than life and would rage if the servers were down, or would rage if there was some type of fucked up pre-order bonus that they stuck into the collector's edition at the last minute, or they started selling something in the cash shop, or shit, even when the cash shop first opened. And Francis's character kind of became the poster boy for the rage in the WoW community, or the crash out in the WoW community. Like, are you pissed off because it's a new launch like Cataclysm and the servers are fucked up? There's going to be a Francis video talking about it. Or are you super pissed off about like this other thing that's happening in regards to rewards being way more easier than they should be? There's going to be a Francis video talking about it. And those videos were super hilarious. They were really, really, really fucking good. But he began branching out beyond just being the Francis Wow crash out create content creator. And Francis began doing stuff like fucking drinking 4 bottles of Mountain Dew, or diving in a fucking pool, or eating so many Doritos that he finally goes and throws up. The character really did morph from a rage crash out character into essentially like this toxic version of gaming, where the worst type of gamer, kind of like how South Park did that one episode with that neckbeard fat dude in the basement who was playing WoW. Francis was the real life version of that character. And then once the character started spilling out into like real world things, you know, most people began kind of moving away from it because you can only beat a drum so many times before you're really not hitting any new notes. But for the person that Boogie was, like the regular person that he was, there was this weird avenue for him in regards to essentially getting sympathy, right? Where, he's like, hey, I'm like this fat dude with a bunch of health problems, pity me. And it's like, yeah, I can understand that, dude. Like, you can, work towards like losing weight. And it was great back then watching him go from like this really overweight, sick dude to losing some weight and starting to look a whole lot better than he did before. And it was kind of like this weird success where there's like this friend that you haven't seen in a really long time, but you've only ever heard about how he's been going through it. And then one day you happen to see him on the street and he looks healthy and he has a fucking haircut and he's walking with a purpose and you're like, I'm fucking happy for that guy. And for a lot of us, we kind of moved away from Boogie's channel. I kind of feel as though a lot of people more or less outgrew the type of humor that he did on the channel. He had some diehards there, but most people outgrew it and they moved on like most people do. As people began to move away, those view numbers begin to come down. And instead of looking at the situation and going, how could I reinvent myself? How could I present these new avenues for me to be able to do things, such as maybe doing a podcast or streaming more or taking a new avenue or a new approach to how you essentially do content? He kept hitting the same well. And like I said before, you can only beat a drum so many times before you hit each and every one of the notes. And more people started to leave. But in his personal life, things weren't exactly going good. He got divorced from his wife, and he kind of had like this whole thing where his mental health just like took a nosedive and it crashed. And once again, people showed up to basically give him sympathy. Here's the thing, I think a lot of people, him included, forget that the internet is not a real fucking place. Like, you can get sympathy from strangers, right? And you can get help and aid from strangers. But the thing about the people that you're giving this help to and the people you're giving this sympathy to is that they rely on the internet to the point that you're not really helping them. It's more or less a dopamine hit. For them, it's, that next wave of 2,000 hearts and I'm sorry that you're going through this messages isn't really helping the person to try and better themselves in any type of way, shape, or form. They're just inserting the needle again and shooting up more fucking heroin because they rely on social media to essentially validate their existence. And not only are you relying on social media to validate your existence, social media is literally the way in which you do your living. You make your money off of YouTube. You make your money off of Twitch. You make your money off of your Patreon and things along those lines. But if you're only ever relying on that validation and you're not fixing the core issue as to why people are leaving your channel and why people aren't watching your channel, all you're doing is circling the fucking drain. And over the last year, I feel as though he has gone from like this really funny dude in the beginning to like this guy that just always wanted you to feel sorry for him to this dude that's basically like, I'm going to use this social media thing to grift and nickel and dime the shit out of as many people as fucking possible. And he has become the diabolical fucking villain, the goofy diabolical fucking villain that he only ever pretended to be in the beginning. It's like, can I scam people by telling them that I have cancer and then not showing any proof in any way, shape, or form that I do cancer? Check. Can I start a shitty cryptocurrency thing and scam money from my audience? Check. Can I like do some type of charity thing and tell them that, hey, I'm doing this charity thing for this thing over there, but instead of donating the money to that charity, you just pocket it and keep it for himself? Check. Can I go online and can I farm sympathy and views and make people feel fucking sorry for me so that they can donate money the next time I'm probably fucking streaming, or maybe to my Patreon, or maybe through YouTube super likes? Check. And it's so weird watching someone, in my opinion, hit what I think is both a moral and a content ceiling. Where you've hit the moral, no, first you've hit the content ceiling, where you're too lazy to basically try new avenues and try new things and see what works for you. And you're also too fucking lazy to try and engage with your audience in a certain type of way that isn't you preying on them or farming them for love and support. But at the exact same time, you've kind of hit also a moral fucking ceiling, where you've hit that ceiling where, to quote the Kendrick and, and Drake beef, which is like, how many black features before you feel as though you're black enough? This is literally the equivalent of how many likes and thanks do you need to receive before you feel as though you're loved enough? Where you feel as though in order to farm love and farm attention, I have to pretend that I have cancer. In order to farm love and farm attention, I have to, tell people that I'm trying to better myself and work on myself without ever putting in any work in any way, shape, or fucking form. And it's kind of scummy. It's so weird watching someone that it's not weird because we literally just watched the downfall and collapse of Dr. Disrespect. But it's so weird watching somebody who started off like so humble in the beginning turn into like this diabolical fucking monster that is completely all of self, that has no morals and really has no boundaries about what they're willing to do, what they're willing to lie about, and how far they're willing to go to basically get fake love and get as much fucking money as possible. And I feel as though the really only way that you can just kneecap these assholes is to just fucking ignore them. Let them disappear into the fucking ether. You don't retweet them. You don't comment on their fucking posts. You don't watch their videos on fucking YouTube. You don't go like their shit on Instagram. It's almost as if you have to put up an entire fucking filter and screen over them. And it's the silence, and the silence is what ends up killing people like this. Not in a figurative sense like he's going to drop dead, but I'm talking about in a metaphysical sense for the online persona about what he's essentially doing. Because if you put up a giant fucking wall and a giant fucking filter that stops engagement with this guy's content, I promise you he will fucking disappear. And you will be hearing about him in maybe like another 6 fucking years of him like losing his fucking house and trying to farm for sympathy, and you ignore that shit as well. Like, you have to allow someone like this, who's basically just looking around to, like I said, farm the algorithm and farm the people for like support and money while being the worst fucking human being. You gotta put up that black screen. You gotta put up that fucking filter and allow them to just disappear into the fucking ether. Because if you continue to engage with him, if you continue to pay attention to what he says, if he says something online and you have to go and you have to comment on it, you're feeding that fucking beast, and it's never gonna fucking go away. It's like, I'm watching this entire thing unfold has been one of the most wildest things ever. Like, if you want a deeper dive into Boogie2988, go watch Voidzilla. He talks about the crypto scam that he ran on his community. He talks about the fucking charity scam he ran on his fucking community. He talks about the fake cancer that he's basically drumming up support and money from his fucking community. He talks about all that. Charlie Penguin Zero, he literally put out like 2 videos talking about Boogie2988, both the cancer payments, which I think was today, and then one from before talking about a crypto scam. This is how you deal with people like this. Because if we continue to treat him the way in which we are, which is bringing him on podcasts, giving him a platform, engaging with his fucking tweets, engaging with his Instagram, he's never going to get better. And he's never going to go away. And he's always going to scam some new sucker that doesn't know what the fuck is going on. But that's just me. I don't feel like talking about this shit anymore. It's just one of those things that I saw today, and I was just like, yeah, that's gonna be a video on the motherfucking channel. because it's like I said, it's so weird watching somebody who created content before you created content that you used to enjoy. And like I just said 10 minutes ago about Dr. Disrespect watching his downfall, like that came out of that came out of left field, because up until that situation occurred, we didn't know what was going on with that. This has been a gradual decline that you can sit back and you can chart and you can watch and see how he ended up just being completely fucking moral bankrupt. But yeah, that's the end of the video. More boys content dropping after this one, so I'll see you guys later. Peace.